Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Hello if you are new. My name is Andrea Johnson. I'm a Reiki Master Teacher, Energy Worker, and I help people develop out their energy work and psychic skills and improve their life by expanding their consciousness. So with that being said, let's dive into today's video. I like to call this series Conscious Coffee Talks, where we sit down and have a cup of coffee over a topic to expand our consciousness. So today's topic is one of my favorites, and it is how to start working with your spirit guides in a Reiki session or an energy work session, whichever you want to use them for. But I'm going to share with you guys how I actually like to work with my guides in client sessions and how they can be used as tools and even help you gain access to information that you can help the client with and with the healing in the session too. So I'm going to go over the different methods that I like to use, and then hopefully you guys get some ideas, or it gives you some inspiration to start working with some spirit guides in your energy work sessions. So why work with spirit guides during a Reiki or an energy work session? Well, these beings are higher vibrational, and so they are better able to connect to that energy and actually help you receive messages for the client's highest benevolence and healing. So they really are good at assisting you, giving you messages or even points for healing for the client. They'll tell you what you need to know, maybe where to place your hand or what chakras are off. So that's one of the biggest benefits I've seen using them. Now you can use them in other ways, and which I'll get a little bit more into that. Probably one of the most fun ways that I like using spirit guides is for psychic surgeries. And what it means, a psychic surgery is kind of what it sounds like. You're basically doing an energetic surgery on the client's body with your mind's third eye. And you can do this by yourself, but I just like my spirit guides to do it. So sometimes I will actually call them in and be like, hey, can you do a psychic surgery? So then maybe it gives me a little bit more information on what's going on with the client. So what happens is when I ask them to come in, or sometimes I don't even ask and they just start, they'll pop in and I'll be like, oh, hey, what's up? But usually what happens is they will come in and they will, stand around the table. Maybe it's one, maybe it's a couple of them. They'll stand around the table and then they'll end up like performing a surgery. And it's a kind of a comical thing. It's not like surgery as in like, blood and guts and stuff like that. I don't see any of that, but it's more of fun. It's honestly like a game of like Operation pretty much. So it's like they come in and they just start like pulling weird objects out of the client, or like colors or like sparklies or whatever, and they'll point to certain body parts or chakras, and it's almost like a game of charades. And honestly, they're just goofy as heck. At least my spirit guides are. But what they end up doing is they'll end up pulling certain objects out and just out of the client's body, and I'll look at it and I'm just kind of like, okay, like what does this mean? Like sometimes I see like ropes or cords, which to me could mean that like the client is connected to something that's bringing their energy down. Maybe it's like another soul that they're connected at the cord, and it maybe needs cut. Ropes usually signify that they are tied into something, like they're attached to something that is weighing them down. So it can be things like that, and this is where you kind of develop out your symbolism with your spirit guides or the universe, whatever you want to call it. But it's almost like a game, like I said, and it is kind of fun, but it gives you more insight on what, objects or things might be in certain chakras to symbolize healing that needs to take place for the client. It's not like I tell the client that, hey, my spirit guide pulled out, a big old rope from your root chakra, and more so if I'll say something along the lines of, hey, a lot of energy went into your root chakra. that to me signifies that there was healing that took place there. It feels like you're holding on to something, that you're not releasing control around a certain aspect. And sometimes I'll see what else kind of shows up. Sometimes I'll get images in my head, or my spirit guide might just straight up tell me that, hey, they're attached to a certain trauma from their childhood. And so then we'll talk about that in the session. And usually when I bring it up, we'll talk about it, and it will help just further shift that energy to stay out of their body. Because usually when we talk about something, it moves it completely because you're expressing it. And even though Reiki was the thing to get it moving, actually talking about it releases you from that energy. So, side note. But psychic surgery is probably one of the most fun ways in which you can utilize spirit guides. And like I said, they come in, they do it. We have our own little system. So certain symbols, sometimes that they will even help me in the session. So they will actually either guide my hands to chakras or where it needs to be. They'll sometimes come in and they'll point at certain body parts and kind of be like, here is where you need to go. Here is where there's energy that needs to be shifted. So it'll be fun things like that. Or they, like I said, they will even step in and actually perform Reiki with me in the session. And we'll do kind of like a little, I say, want to shuffle around the table together. So I'll be at the head and, working my way down while they're down at the feet. And we kind of shuffle around the table. So that is some ways in which I find that they've helped me. Besides just giving me information, they actually do help me with the session healing itself. Now also, besides actually performing it, there are some times where I'll have spirit guides come in and they'll stand in certain corners of the room, almost trying to make a certain geometric shape. For some reason, they stand a certain way, and the only sense that I get out of it is that they need to stand in this certain kind of pattern to bring forth an energy channeling. So they'll stand in this little pattern, and it's usually these certain beings that I work with. They're the ones that do this all the time. And then they'll actually beam in energy from another dimension. So they stand in this weird pattern, and then they just kind of hold their hands up, and then this energy, this white light, this gold white light comes through and actually hits the client where it needs to. And they just beam throughout the entire session. So it's they're standing around us in this pattern, and it's just going throughout the whole session. And, like I said before, I don't tell the client about this. This is everything that I see going on, but I don't necessarily tell them, I had my beings come in and this is what they did. More so, I pay attention to what they're telling me and the messages that need to be relayed to the client for their healing and their highest. And I'll just sort of translate that more to something that they can make sense of. Kind of the example that I gave earlier. So if I see where white light is going in a client's body, then that's where I will just say, hey, I felt a lot of energy moving into this chakra, and this is what it felt like, what's going on. And then I will get feedback from the client. Usually they're like, oh, it's because of this. Yeah. Those are some ways in which I like to utilize my spirit guides in energy work sessions, Reiki sessions. And like I said before, they're really good tools because it really takes the pressure off of you, and it gives you more insight on what's going on. They are giving you more information. Like I said, they raise the vibration of the session itself because honestly, they're super funny. At least mine are really funny. So it kind of just makes me laugh while I'm sitting there doing this. Spirit guides are high vibrational, and of course, whatever ones come in, they're also bringing forth their own healing powers that they have. I call it powers, but their skill set that they have, the vibration that is them coming in, it also brings forth a healing energy that the client might need right now. So there's a lot of different ways in which a spirit guide can really enhance your session. So I like to call them in either during the session or even before. I will actually, when I cleanse my room, I will ask my spirit guides, whichever ones I want to work with or feel intuitively called to work with before the session. I ask them to come in, and even the spirit guides of the other person, because I've had that happen too, of spirit guides come in and it's not for me, it's for them, and they're just helping me in the session, giving me messages, or they're just there watching over them. I've had that happen plenty of times. It's almost kind of like they come in and they're like, hey, what are you doing? So, but once they recognize who I am, what I'm doing, they get familiar with my energy. They're like, okay, cool, like you're not a threat. So, but anyways, guys, I really hope that this was an informational video. I hope it motivated you to maybe start working with some kick-ass spirit guides in your sessions. Like I said, all you have to do is ask. And if you aren't working with any spirit guides right now, watch my other videos on how to introduce yourself to them, and then how to actually start the communication, what different methods of communication you can use, and then really strengthen that connection. Because the more you work with your guides, the stronger the connection is going to be, the more that they're actually going to be in your field, and you can feel the shift and vibration come in when they step in. So you just keep on strengthening that connection, and honestly, eventually you end up kind of just becoming part of them. It's pretty, or they become part of you, whichever way you want to look at it. So anyways, guys, drop down in the comments below if you really enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or would like me to make any other kind of videos on spirit guides and how I like to work with them. So with that being said, I'm sending you guys all of my light and all of my love. We'll see ya.